Alright guys, just coming at you with an informative video on our 1J build series. Series will entail one part, and it's this. We missed the bottom end build. It is forged. We got the manly piston. Got the manly pistons in there, and we've just bolted everything down. Make sure you just gap the rings before you do anything. Make sure the mating surface is clean too. As you can see, I'll just try to get that to focus. We've gone over it pretty well. Now we're just going to test how free it spins. So, you know, there shouldn't be that much pressure. Spin it nicely, and if it doesn't, just give it a bit of a spray. It won't hurt it. Make sure your arrows are all facing the right direction. And yeah, you know, it's pretty simple. Pretty easy build. Just make sure, you know, everything's put together nice and tight, and you gap the rings properly. Yeah, just never hurts to put a bit of oil on it, even in there. Just remember to wipe down the bores to make them nice and clean so the skirts don't ride it too hard. Yeah, just make sure it's all nice and clean. Alright, now pretty much what you want to do is just get a decent rag that's not too, you know, dirty. Wipe down the face of the block. It's just, you know, cleanliness is pretty much the main, you know, priority in this build. That's why we're making sure everything's nice and oiled, even in places like this. Just put some oil in there and you should be right. Now we're just going to bolt on the head, which is a very, you know, particular part. You got to make sure the head's nice and clean too. I mean, we've just used a bit of detergent from the dishwasher in there, and it's done quite a good job. Just that's it. Line it up nice and even. That's it. Sometimes they don't want to budge, but make sure you just slam it on. What the fuck is this? Just bolt the fucking cunt on. Nice. No, it's in. Just so you guys know, we're legit 1J. It's, you got that around there you go. Now, you're gonna want to make sure you get a bit of lubrication on here. There's the head studs. These are the original 1J head studs that came with the vehicle, but you want to lube them up too. You can reuse them. It's just ARP and everything else just want you to buy new ones because it's a bit of an industry scam. Just fucking straight in. There is a specific torque order you got to use from Toyota. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. So yeah, it's pretty much very simple. It's a job you can do at home on your own. Minimal tools required, and it's fun. 12-point fucking hex bolt. Yeah, mate. Got a knife for it. Now, alright, so we're going on to the tightening process of the head bolts. Just set it to about 50 to 70 Newton meters on the rattle gun, and it should go on nice and easily. Okay. That's the wrong size bit. Alright, so remember the order. It goes 1, 2. Make sure you give it a couple of glugs, as it's essential to make sure the mating surface with the block and the head is flush. Yeah, give it one more, eh? Yeah. Remember, 1, 2, 3. And you just do that the whole way across. Get a bit of oil. And it is as simple as that. Don't let anybody tell you can't do it. This one's playing a bit of hard to get, so you might want to turn the rattle gun up to 3 instead of 2. Yeah, that's exactly right. We've got a set of genuine TRD cams ready to bolt in. You can tell which one's the intake just by looking at how clean it is versus how dirty that one is. Pretty obvious to the trained eye. So we're just going to go and put them in now. And remember, with these ones you don't need to lube them as much, especially the intake cam. Just give it, yeah. No, that's the way it's supposed to be. Now you're going to want to rotate the crank to drop those valve lashes. There you go, mate. She's done. That's about the gap that you need on these cams. They're big cams, they flow quite a lot of gap. At this stage we're just checking the cam tolerances. Yeah, that's right. That seems about right. You want a little bit of play to make sure when it is boosting. This thing will be running about 30 pound of boost. So when it's boosting, you need to have that play for it to get the air in and the exhaust fumes out. Yeah. No, that's alright. Sparks sometimes. Just inspect the main caps when you're putting them on the crankshaft, so you get them all nice and even. You don't want to mess around. This is an important part. Hold up, make sure you put the cam sleeve in. Yep.
I think the order is one end to the other, right? You do this end and the opposite end, and it just fucking clamps the thing straight.
Yeah, so
no voltage whatsoever.
You've got cap A there, cap B, C, D, E, F, G. It's pretty simple.
Basically.
It's any backyard fool can do this. Hell, some people do it for a living. What? 25 Newton meters, only one block. See how it pulled it down? Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, that crankshaft was quite bent before I pulled it down a lot.
Yeah. I'm just guiding him through his first build. Look, everyone starts somewhere. Now you just turn the crank to make sure the valves are lapped nicely. So just give it a turn, mate. There you go. One full rotation. Beautiful. You could see this was moving a bit. That's just the valve being compressed back down into the piston. So as long as it's making contact, it's what you're looking for. Just testing the lashing on this one. You don't want to bolt all of these down too firmly before you spin it.
Give the intake side a spin.
Yeah, that was torqued on properly, I think. Let me just have a bit of show and tell.
Tell that
See that? Listen to this. That tells you that cap number 4 needs to be addressed. Yep, there you go. Hold on. Perfect. Alright, and on the last step to prevent rust on the caps, you just want to give it a bit of a prime with some nice priming paint. See?
Can't rust if it's got primer on it.
And that's genuine startup primer paint, so good for 1,000 horse, and we'll probably be exceeding that. Now a lot of people cheap out on the cam gears, but we went a set of genuine HKS Tomei, 1 Tomei for the intake and 1 HKS for the exhaust port shaft. So all you got to do is, it's pretty simple, there's a little keyway here, you just line it up with that and away she goes. Either goes on, you know, chuck it on any side, left, right. It all works out pretty well, and once again, don't waste your time with the wrenches and this, you just chuck the fucking thing straight on, torque it down, away you go. Alright, with the intake cam, you're going to want to tighten this one down a few lugs. Yeah, so you see how the camshaft spun about 4 times? That was correct. Any more and you're probably not timed the engine correctly. Now with the exit camshaft, simple little blip. Because that will be expelling all the fuel and exhaust gas, you just need to make sure that as long as this primer has set, you won't have any problems. Just putting on the cam balancer. Just need to remove the, there you go, she's got a little keyway there. Just want to remove that off the oil pump. Make sure your oil pump timing is set too. The guy we bought ours off, he had it a few degrees too advanced and we almost cooked the engine. Install the crankshaft gear and just make sure this star piece is on the outside there. That's about lined up from what I could tell from here. Now that it's lined up, you just want to put the harmonic balancer on. Make sure to just take a little bit out the top there because we're putting on a performance timing belt. Yeah, you just grab that bolt, loosen her up a bit. Yeah. And the timing belt isn't as good, isn't as hard as everyone makes it out to be. It's a pretty simple procedure. You want to put the harmonic balancer on first, so you make sure it's all lined up, and then just, it's a simple procedure, is just slipping it in and just lining it up. No, you want it about that tight, mate. She won't be. Yeah, just get that on there and it'll stretch over. One mistake with these 1Js, people get them confused with the 2Js. The 1J only runs off one cam with the timing belt to the crank. The other intake camshaft is independent and controlled by the air pressure sensor. So what you want to do is make sure it's on properly, do about 3/4 of an inch down and just get a relatively good zip tie from Super Cheap or something. Just zip tie that thing up and away you go. Yeah, this bolt is the zip tie bolt. So now that your timing belt is on, you just want to make sure you have your tension to about 2 fingers tight and then you just put the tensioner back on and she'll be tensioned, because if you don't have the tension, then you won't have any tension timed up. See how I can't turn it halfway? That's good. And now it's just got to drive that crank bolt home, and then you're pretty much ready to chuck the spark plugs in and give it some fuel, and it should fire up. Alright, now just make sure everything's timed up. There you go. It wouldn't spin if it wasn't timed correctly. So as long as it's spinning with a reasonable amount of force, you're pretty much ready to put on a new oil filter and start it up. Alright, now last step for the top end rebuild is just to chuck on the valley covers. We got these off the new Supra 1J, so it should bolt straight on if Toyota isn't messing us about. Beautiful, isn't it? Alright, so that's the last screw for the top of the valley cover. We'll be sending this one out to my customer interstate. Should be happy. Realistically, we hope to see at least 1,000 plus horsepower out of this thing on stock fuel, so you know, stay tuned. If you need any engines built, give us a call, Berserk Garage. We've got you sorted. Peace.